Hey everyone, welcome to Group Text. My guest today is Jason Ritter, who this was hard for me to believe, started acting professionally alongside his famous father, John Ritter, at the age of 8. Wow. I know, wow. In The Dreamer of Oz, the Frank L. Baum story. Since then, we've seen him in shows like Swim Fan and movies, Freddy vs. Jason, Gravity Falls, Raising Dion, and Parenthood, for which he earned an Emmy nom. Jason now appears as the voice of Fox's father-in-law on the new Apple TV kids show Slumberkins, premiering November 4th. Hi, Jason.
Hi, thanks for
I
having me.
feel I feel like we're somehow strangely cousins in survival of being an entertainment kid.
Yes, yes,
Like
exactly.
it's like I feel like you and I together, like I can put together 3 meals easy a day off a craft service table.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Red vines become a food group.
exactly.
Isn't it
Exactly. There's a
sick?
lot of protein in red vines, I think.
I There has to be. There's always hard boiled eggs.
Oh yeah, those are key. Those are
Yeah.
important.
That always becomes the basis of the meal. Always multiple choices of bread,
Yep.
peanut butter.
Yeah.
I mean, we can,
And
and
and coffee.
bananas. Right.
Yeah,
And there's always a banana
and bananas. Yeah,
or an orange, something that's like got skin that no one else has to touch the inside.
exactly. It's very important these days,
It
especially.
is. Um, let's just start with what's going on right now. Slumberkins, which of course, that's my personal nickname for my Ambien. It's like my
We're
little sleep.
little slumberkins at night.
It is. It's a little slumberkins. It's a little. I call that. I get when I've been really good. I've like earned my Ambien. It's like my happy sleep.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
So November 4th on Al. It sounds fantastic for families with little kids. Tell me about the show.
Yeah, it's so fun. I mean, it's based on the book series, the Slumberkins, and all of those books and dolls are all about the big emotions that kids can feel.
Especially
And
now.
yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes we can forget as adults that all of that is going on, all of the anger and jealousy and fear of change, or these big things are happening in kids' minds. And so this book sort of helps them navigate some of those feelings, and I think also at the same time helps us as parents go, oh yeah, maybe I do know how to talk to my son or daughter about this particular feeling. And I'm just so proud of it and happy to be a part of it.
How'd you get involved in it?
I auditioned for it, I think, and it had a different name at that point. I didn't realize that it was actually the Slumberkins. I think they were calling it Cuddle at that point. And I always have one eye out looking for things that I can show my daughter, who's 3.5.
Because you can't show her Swim Fan.
I can't show her Swim Fan. No, no, maybe later.
Taylor or Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, no, definitely not Freddy versus.
And Parenthood a little too emotionally complex. Was she 4?
Yeah, she's almost 4. She'll be 4 in December. So yeah, Parenthood. I'll wait until she's a teenager, and then I'll force her to watch all 6 seasons.
So you voice, I guess play the Fox's father-in-law.
Yes, I think he's just father, just straight up, just dad, just straight up father.
Father. Okay. So, but I was going to ask though, because you're recently married.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years?
Yes, it was. Yeah, exactly.
What's your father-in-law like? Did you take any inspiration for playing a dad from your father-in-law?
I mean, I think I took more inspiration from my dad. My father-in-law is a lovely man, and he's a doctor, and he's incredible. Melanie's dad. But yeah, more of my general father skills came from my dad, I think.
So it's a bunch of psychologists, like actual
Yeah.
people were involved in this show.
Yes.
Was that important to you?
Yeah, I think it's nice to know that it's that it comes from a place of expertise. I think that that's an important thing. Someone who's studied it and not just kind of going, I know how to, you know, so many people have advice on how to raise your kids. You'll notice,
Yeah.
at the park, someone will say like, you shouldn't do that. And it's sort of like, what are your qualifications, sir? And there's a lot of gut feelings, and so it's nice to know, no, actually this has been sort of studied and looked through, and we found that these are some of the best ways to help these kids navigate these complicated feelings. This is how you can talk about change in a way that doesn't feel scary, or this is a way you can talk about divorce, or whatever it is, or when mom and dad fight, or any of these complicated things that kids can be dealing with.
I was gonna say important things like when mom and dad fight, suck up to the one that you think is gonna get more money in the split.
Yeah, and always remember, whatever it is, it's your fault.
Don't forget, there is a point where you can manipulate them.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll
Exactly.
be part two. Manipulation.
Yeah, how to get what you want.
So you and Melanie, who has literally been in everything,
Yeah.
literally everything. It's like you,
Yeah.
everything have been together, which is crazy, since 2013.
Yeah.
And I read that you guys got married sort of by what you believed to be necessity.
Yes, we had been engaged for quite a while.
There's nothing like dragging out the process.
Yeah, exactly. We were engaged. Our daughter decided to show up, so that delayed. That was the first delay, and then a year into our daughter's life, the pandemic hit, and that was the second big delay. And then there was a period of time where Melanie was going to start working in Canada, and I I was going, they were going to go first, and I was going to join them. And all of a sudden we realized, wait, am I going to be at the border going, well, we have a child together, but we basically, trying to explain the whole situation. Let me just go back to 2013 and start there. So we just, it was about 4 or 5 days before she was leaving. And we said to each other, do you think we could, is it possible to like officially get married in 3 or 4 days? And I did some Google searching. I found a mobile officiant who had a opening. And then I called some of my castmates and I said, hey, so if anybody's free on Wednesday, we're getting married. So if you guys want to, this is going to be at our house, but there'll be croissants. We'll bring some coffee and stuff. And
some Entenmann's donuts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We had a cheese plate, very nice. And yeah, one of my castmates and her boyfriend came, and that was about it. It was me, Melanie, our daughter, the babysitter, the officiant, and 2 friends. We'll have a big one at some point later, but we just wanted to get it on the books.
Because you believed, from what I read, that they weren't going to let you into I mean, there's nothing like getting married with the impetus being, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one of the things that you can say at the border is reuniting with my family. But we just had no idea if they were going to be like, what family? Legally, you have no family, sir.
So probably it's the wedding every girl has dreamt of.
Yeah, exactly.
In the meantime, her father's going, thank God I just got out of spending a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I should be like, it was $35, sir. You can just send a check.
Here's the receipt for the cheese plate.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want to pivot into this because I honestly understand how frustrating it is when people want to talk about our parents. As much as we love them, people tend to put too much focus on that and not enough on what people like you and I have professionally achieved. So I get it. So,
yeah.
But I feel like you and I can talk about it sort of in a different way than other people. But I didn't realize you were 3rd generation. Your grandfather was Tex Ritter, who was a country singer and actor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he was out here in the 30s and 40s in the San Fernando Valley, cranking out westerns and singing and recording albums at Capitol Records, and yeah. So I mean, in a way, my my dad had already had the experience of what I was going to eventually experience. So it was helpful in a certain way because he had already navigated kind of being the son of somebody who was well known and all that goes into that. So there were things that I sort of held on to growing up.
How
That
much did he cringe when you said, I want to be an actor?
he he and my mom were both pretty supportive. I mean, I think they wanted to make sure that I was saying I want to be an actor and not I want to be famous. Because I think sometimes that's what can get confused. And because if I truly just liked being an actor and I wanted to be an actor, I can do that. If the fame doesn't come, I can still make myself happy. If that's the thing that makes me happy. If I'm looking for some other product, there are different ways to do it or things like that. But and I did say I want to be an actor, and they handed me a whole bunch of books and movies to watch and performances and actors to look out for. And I sort of initially I was like, actually, never mind. I thought,
I want to
I thought,
read.
yeah, sorry. I thought this was a different type of a thing. And then later, when I really decided that I wanted to do it, they were like, "All right, go for it. Follow your dreams." They both, especially my dad, whose dad was an actor and performer and knew that it was ups and downs and tough. He hoped my dad would be something else, and I think that was on some level that was painful enough for my dad that he didn't want to do that to me. He'd rather support me in my dream and then be there for me if it doesn't work out or whatever, but really give me the support and the best shot I had.
Yeah. My parents, people always say, my parents were supportive, but not encouraging.
I get that. Yeah, for sure.
Like, please go do something else.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Because they know what a shitty business is. And my mom always used to say, it's a life of rejection.
Oh yeah. And like it's a specific brand of rejection because it's not even like, oh, I don't like the painting that you did. There are a lot of art forms there's a bit more separation between you and who you are and the thing that you're selling.
Yeah.
But
We don't like you.
yeah, that's what it feels like when you don't get an audition or whatever. Like, oh yeah, this is a rejection of who you are as a person. We don't find you likable.
Yeah, that's always,
It's like, oh gosh, geez, that's painful.
I always get the, wow, you're funny. Like,
Oh gosh. Oh, you
thank
think?
you.
Yeah.
I also get the, wow, you're not at all who we thought you would be. We thought you were going to be a bitch.
Oh wow.
See, you get the reverse. It's probably like, we expected you to be really nice.
Yeah,
And you're not.
yeah, and you are really not. Yeah, that's so funny. I never thought about that. Yeah, no, there is a lot that people just sort of expect on some level to be a carbon copy, and we are who we are. We have lots of different influences and people in our life, and that's fun to defy expectations and
Yeah. Call it what you want. It's always interesting. Something
yeah,
else we unfortunately, a shitty thing we have in common is the sudden loss and the
yes,
unexpected loss of someone who is not only our parent, but not everyone's close to their parents, but who was also someone who we were very close to.
yeah, absolutely,
I always try and explain to people, and this has happened to me sadly twice because of my dad,
right,
that you wake up one morning, when you go to bed one night and everything's fine, you wake up the next morning and nothing is the same.
yeah, exactly.
How did you get through it?
Oh, there's no real way. It's just like you you're kind of just being dragged through it. And then if you don't die yourself or sink, then you made it through, like but you're just kind of, especially initially, you're waking up at the, like each day kind of, the first chapter feels like you're in a nightmare, like you wake up from a nightmare and you go, oh, that wasn't real. Whew. There's a period of time where you wake up and you go, oh no, that is real. Wow, that's real. And there's just no going back. And I also think it's, and how this is, when there's someone in your family who's a force of nature, energetically,
Yeah.
where they come into a room and that's where the focus goes. It's bizarre when that person is gone.
It's really bizarre.
It's weird. It's like it's like that feeling in the first time I saw Psycho, and you're following Janet Leigh, and then the shower scene happens and you go, wait, now who are we watching now?
Yeah.
This guy? we got
what?
This creep, It's like there's like a black hole of energy, and so it's you're looking around at everyone, and people come in and they fill it up, and your family becomes something different. But it's also even hard to comprehend that a life like that is over. You're like, well, that energy's got to go somewhere. Like it can't just collapse in on itself. It's just bizarre. But there's no one way to make it through. I mean, there's so many people who just told me like, oh yeah, this happened to me. There's really nothing I can say. Just, if you need something, let me know. But you're just on this journey, and I know what the journey was like for me, but it's going to be different for you. And one foot in front of the other.
For me, it was, I just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You were
exactly.
For me, it was only 8 years ago. For you, it was what, 19?
19. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For me, it was one foot in front of the other, and I had to make sure my son got through it. So that became my main focus. But, again, your father was so universally loved, as, believe it or not, my mother was, that one of the things that saved me in the beginning was the outpouring.
Yes.
Of love and adoration and people coming and saying wonderful things.
Absolutely.
About halfway through it, I think, when I started to come out of this sort of surreal, again, you put it so eloquently, which I never thought of as this void of energy, suddenly there's this quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so strange, because your entire life you've had this noise, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
And completely different on those kinds of things. People always coming up to you and sharing their grief with you sometimes started to feel overwhelming.
Yes.
It's
absolutely,
tough.
Yeah.
So, but the amazing thing is you have your daughter.
Yes, exactly. It's really incredible.
How much of you do you see in her already, or how much do you see of Melanie already?
I see us both in there. I do really see us both. I definitely see a lot of me. There's a lot of running around and climbing on things and jumping off things, things that stress Melanie out, things that I recognize about myself that stressed my parents out. But there's also a really rich understanding of things and wanting to learn things, and this sort of, I feel like she has Melanie's heart or spirit or something, and kind of my craziness.
Awesome. But see, and normally girls tend to be more like they'll sit and they'll play, and boys orbit.
Yeah.
But it sounds like she's an orbiter.
Oh, yeah. She's constantly orbiting and climbing on it's hard to get her to sit down and eat some food. She's like on me. I'm trying to feed her, above my shoulder. She'll just climb up onto and just sit on my shoulders if I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah, she's got a lot of energy.
But just great.
It's awesome. It's amazing.
So what's going to happen when she comes to you and says, "Mother, father, I choose to act"?
I'll plop down a bunch of books and I'll say, read all these. And then that'll hopefully put her off for a few years. And, the one thing that my parents sort of said, they didn't want, they were like, if you want to do this, do it later. They didn't want me to be a child actor. I think that was their one thing. They felt like it was important for me to have as much of a life as possible in a childhood that wasn't all wrapped around auditions and headshots and all that stuff. And this is nothing against other child actors.
No. I get exactly what you're saying. My parents were the same way.
Yeah. So that was one thing. I mean, I'll see how I react, because it is scary that a child your child coming up to you and saying, I want to, like, you were saying, like your mom was saying, open myself up to a lifetime of rejection and pain and feeling inadequate, all of these things with like a 0.01% chance of,
yeah, exactly.
All that kind of stuff. It's a scary thing. You go, no, do something. There's a part of you that says do something that is a sure bet. But at the same time, nothing is really a sure bet. And I think it ends up belief in them and allowing them to stand and fall. A lot of them are gonna do whatever they want to do, no matter what you say. So it's like, are you in their corner or not? Can you really like pull the reins back and change the course of someone's life if they've decided that that's what they want to do or that's who they want to be? I don't think so. It's like,
I'll talk to you when she's a teenager. Yeah, you'll be locking her in the room. You went to NYU.
I did.
Growing up in LA, and then suddenly living in New York.
Yes.
First of all, I grew up in LA and then went to Penn. Living in the weather completely messes up your brain.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not like you're going skiing or just to visit where you get to leave.
Right. Right. Exactly. No, being in it.
Yes.
And I remember it was like towards the end of October, around this type of year, my first semester, a month or two in, and I was wearing everything I had in my closet. I was like a big, like one of those kids you see who just is in a snowsuit, and they were going, oh, it hasn't even started to get cold. You're not going to make it.
Yeah. It's 65 and they're in flip-flops and t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
shivering.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I have frostbite, guys.
How important was it to your family and to yourself that you went to college and didn't go right into acting?
It was important for me. I will say that, like, some people, everyone has their own journey. For me, I had so many insecurities. I had a lot of self-doubt, and for me, it helped to get to say, well, I at least tried to learn how to be better. And I had some of the greatest teachers of my life in college, teachers who changed my life, teachers who taught me things. I felt like I had years where I could try things in class and be bad and fail. And it wasn't like, oh, that was an audition that I could have, that I needed to nail. It was like, oh, you're growing, and it's sort of you're shedding skin and all of that stuff. And so I really appreciated it for myself. It was also hard as I saw friends of mine leave school and start to work. There's a part of you that goes, oh my gosh, when I graduate, I'm going to be 22, practically geriatric. You're like, yeah, it's not how it works, but there's the urgency that's hard to get out of your head. And, but I still am happy that I saw it all the way through to the end. And the friends you meet along the way as well.
Yes. And, you know, your parents got to go to graduation.
And they did. Yes, exactly.
Which is the argument I'm having with my son right now, who goes, oh, going to graduation is stupid. It doesn't matter. I'm like, you are walking because I want you to.
Yeah, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be crying. I need that emotional release.
And I paid so much money for this moment. You will not rob me of it. You will not.
Exactly.
Well, Slumberkins comes out on Apple TV November 4th. Jason, always a pleasure.
It's so nice to see you. Yeah, absolutely.